Hi everyone, it's Shar. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. If you saw my last video and you see that I look exactly the same, mind your business. No, I'm just kidding. I am pre-recording because one of my goals for the new year is to have videos uploaded on a more consistent schedule. I have always posted on Tuesday/Wednesday and Saturday, but I want to post at a consistent time, which means I'm gonna need to upload a little bit more advanced than the morning when the video is going up. But because we are in the beginning of January, I want to tell you about the books that I am hoping to read this month. Now, if you're new here, I am very much a mood reader. I pick up whatever I want and then I read it in that moment. I primarily read from Kindle Unlimited, but one of my goals is to read more off of my priority shelf. There are 94 to 96 books on this shelf. I don't remember the exact count, so I don't think I will actually get through all of the books this year, but my aim is to get through half of them. When looking at my stats, which you can see in my top books of 2022 video, I realized that I was very inconsistent with my reading. I had some months where I read 21 books and I had other months where I read 2 books. So it was very up and down. Even though I'm a mood reader, I decided to set out on this experiment of setting a TBR for the month and trying to stick to it as much as possible. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm only going to read these books or that I'm going to always read it in exactly the order that they are on this list, but I'm going to try my best to do that. And at the end of the month, I will have a reflection of what it was like for me as someone who is very much a mood reader trying to stick to a physical TBR. And I will tell you, just thinking about that makes me feel like I can't do this, Darren. I'm claustrophobic.
No. I'm claustrophobic, Darren!
That is the worst accent in the world, but I'm hearing Gemma Collins in my mind, and she's saying, I'm claustrophobic, which is how I feel with this set TBR, but these are books that I'm excited about, so let me stop rambling and tell you what's on this list. I have 13 books on this list, which feels like not a lot and a lot. My average books per month is like 15 books, so I'm well within that range, but some of these books are chunky. So the first book on this list is Slewfoot by Brom. I plan for this to be my first book of 2023. I've pitched this before, but I'm sure I've pitched it incorrectly because I don't like to know everything there is to know about the summary. Demon Daddy, and that's all I needed to know to pick this book up, plus it's full of beautiful illustrations. But in this book, we are following this girly right here. She's trying to mind her own business in 1600s America on her farm with her husband, but her husband dies. And there's also this deity with no fucking memories named Slewfoot living in the woods, and they're like, yo, that's a demon, and she's like, I'll talk to him anyway. So they become friends, and this is a story about magic and witchcraft and them, and that really is all I need to know. I heard Demon Daddy. I mean, technically he's a god, but that's all I need to know. The illustrations will be beautiful. The cover is very soft, although you can see it picks up fingerprints extremely easy, and this will be my first read of 2023. This is the book. That makes me wonder if 13 books is realistic because she's a chunky book. So this is Babel by R.F. Kuang. If you are living under a rock, this is one of the most hyped books of 2022. I have the Fairy Loot edition, which yes, is quite pretty, but Babel is a story of, it's like magic, but really it's about imperialism and colonialism and translation in the UK. We have a bunch of students who go to Oxford, and this is their story. In this world, there's like metal silverworking magic, but it depends on like the words that you use and how it's translated. Really, all I know is that this is a very hard-hitting novel. It talks a lot about racism, bias, colonialism, imperialism, everything. R. Kwong is a genius and I am very excited to read this, but I'm super scared because number one, I don't really like books in academic settings. And number two, I think this book is going to be really, really heavy and emotionally heavy, and I'm going to have to mentally prepare myself. This will be one of the first books that I read in the year just because I am participating in a buddy read with a few people for this. So I essentially asked for accountability in reading this book. So it is going to happen. I will be vlogging it, but you won't see this video for a while. So if my nails are exactly the same in that video, you know why. Next, we have The Shuddering by Anya Alborn. I've always said Anaya, but I've heard people say Anya, so I think it's Anya. The Shuddering is a story of this group of friends who go up to this cabin in the woods as like a connection thing, but they get stuck there. There's this big storm, weird shit is happening, and they get the sense that there is something outside. It gets dark. I think it gets graphic. I will say this in so many videos. I feel like I've said it so many times just because I am pre-recording. I really like horrors that have paranormal elements, and I like isolated books set in snowy, cold settings. This sounds like everything that I'm going to enjoy, and I'm planning to read that as the third book of this month. Next is a book I bet if I can get to because I have it checked out from the library and it is going to be taken away soon because I have it on Libby as an ebook, and that is The Dead Romantics. I know this book makes people cry. I know it's a book people really enjoyed last year. This is a story about a woman who is a ghost writer and she can see dead people. She is grieving the loss of someone who was very important to her, and I think she falls in love with a ghost. And that sounds like fun times to me in terms of the falling in love with the ghost. I know this book does get very emotionally heavy and really touches on conversations about grief, so I'm going in prepared to read that, but it is going to be higher on this priority list for my January TBR just because, as I've already mentioned, it's going to get taken away. Then I have Lease on Love, which I'm hoping to find at my library. This is a story about this woman who goes on what she thinks is a blind date, but I think it's actually this guy looking for a roommate, and this is about how they end up being roommates but fall in love. Cover is pretty. I know that I think Gabby from Gabby Reads really liked this book, so I'm really excited to read it. Daisy Darker is a book that I own. I picked it up on like the Kindle ebook sale. I don't even know what Daisy Darker is about. Well, it's a book that I'm planning to read in January. I think it's a murder mystery. I traditionally have not liked Alice Feeney before, but Daisy Darker sounded interesting to me, but I can't remember. What's it about? Great video. So I try to balance this list while reading horror and then something lighter. So that's kind of how I mix it up. So after reading Daisy Darker, I think I'm gonna want something lighter. So I put Part of Your World, something lighter, because this book actually has a lot of heavy themes. Our main female character here has just left an emotionally abusive relationship, and I believe her father is also very emotionally abusive. But you can see we have two different settings. So we have city girl goes to small town where this guy is the mayor, and this is the story of them falling in love. There is a significant age gap. That's all I know about this book. That's all I needed to know about this book. It has ended up on so many people's top favorite books of 2022. I am easily influenced, but also I trust the opinions of those who I watch for this. So I am really excited to read this book. I think that I am going to freaking love it. Another book that I will be planning to read in January that I think I'll definitely read because it is for a book club. So this is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. This is the book club pick for the two book clubs that I'm part of. They both just happen to pick the same book, I think because Hellbent is coming out next month, so people want to reread it. Ninth House is on Kindle Unlimited, so we love to see it. So Ninth House follows the story of this girl named Alex. I think her name is actually Galaxy, but she goes by Alex. And she is struggling with life until one day Yale is like, hey, come to our college. We're gonna give you a full ride. And she's like, yo, I don't even have the qualifications to get into Yale. Like, what are you talking about? And they're like, no, come. And she's essentially meant to monitor these fraternities on Yale's campus. And did I mention that Alex can see ghosts? That is the main reason she's brought in this book. These fraternities are into some really dark shit, and someone gets murdered in the book, and the university is like, nope, I don't know why you're being weird about it. That didn't happen. Don't know why you're being weird. Because of course they're trying to cover up what the frats did. And this is the story of that. Again, I'm nervous because I don't traditionally like books set in academic settings, but it's a book club pick. It's going to be fun to participate in the conversations for both of those book clubs, and I am excited to read it. Plus, I have nothing to lose. The book is free on Kindle Unlimited, so I'm gonna have a good time with that. Emotional damage. We have We Spread by Ian Reid. This is kind of a genre-defying book from what I understand. No matter what you market it as, it doesn't really fit neatly into one of those categories. But this is about this woman who is older. She is alone now. I believe her partner has passed, and she is struggling with her memory, kind of losing her sense of self. And because she is struggling with her memory, she doesn't remember a lot. These people from this like retirement home come and say, hey, you spoke to us, you came to visit, you vetted it, you really liked it, you said that we should come and bring you, so that's what we're going to do. But the thing is, she doesn't remember that happening, and she doesn't know if that is part of her mind kind of failing her, or if something more sinister is going on. What I know about this book mainly is that it makes so many people cry, and it is a lot deeper than a woman goes to a retirement home and doesn't really know what's happening. It's about her loss of identity and who you are when everything that you have known about yourself is taken away. I do think this book will make me cry. I'm going to fight the instinct to put it off because I do plan to read this in January. And this cover is just so pretty. Like, look what the light does on the roots. Stunning. Then I'm going to read Ivan by Sophie Lark. I don't fucking know what this book is about, but one of my goals is to read the books that I have on my want to read list on Goodreads. I go through that list a lot, fairly often, and the fact that I haven't deleted it says that I've read that summary multiple times and still decided that I want to read it, and yet I don't remember what it's about. I'm hoping that it's on Kindle Unlimited, although I don't think I've ever seen a Sophie Lark book on KU, but we'll see. It's part of a video, and that's all I will tell you. Next book, coming to our last few, we have Confessions by Kanae Minato, which I'm mispronouncing, so I sincerely apologize for that. This is a book that I own on Audible. It got fairly popular last year. It is a translated book about this woman who works at a school, and she's essentially telling her class, this is my last day here. And here's the thing, I know one of you killed my daughter. And that is what the story is about. I heard that it is wild, that it gets crazy, that it has so many plot twists, and overall that it is just a really fun time. I'm not sure if audiobook is the way to go for this, but that is the copy that I have, and because I own it, I'm going to read it. And then we have two new releases. So we have How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. This is releasing towards the end of this month. How to Sell a Haunted House is a book that I've been looking forward to for over a year. It was initially supposed to be published in June, I think, of 2022, but it got pushed back to January of this year. How to Sell a Haunted House is a story of two siblings whose parents have died in the COVID pandemic. During that pandemic, both siblings' bank accounts have taken massive hits. They are really struggling financially, and the only asset that they have is their parents' home, and they're hoping to sell that as quickly as possible so they can get back on their feet. So they go to the house to start clearing it out, and they find that their parents have actually glued newspaper over the mirror and have nailed all the attic doors shut, and shit is really creepy and really weird. They don't know what's happening. I know that this story says, or the summary says, all family homes are haunted and all people are haunted by their parents or something like that. I think it's gonna get weird. Grady Hendrix is comedic horror. So I am really excited to read this. I read Horror Store by Grady Hendrix, and I really, really enjoyed it. So I'm hopeful that this will live up to how long I have been wanting to read it. So hopefully my anticipation levels are at the right spot. And then the final new release coming out this year is a little bit more niche. We have Mysteries of Thorn Manor, which is a sequel novella to A Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson, which I absolutely loved. I had a great time with it. I think I have the unpopular opinion that the characters were actually a throuple and that they're all in love with each other. That's what I got. If you also thought that, let me know that I'm not alone in thinking that in the comments below. But in this book, we are back with that same cast of characters. Elizabeth and Nathaniel are our main characters, and Nathaniel has a demon that he has bound to his family as well. They're all back in this house, but the manor is kind of acting up. It has wards, and the wards have backfired, so they're all trapped in the house trying to figure out what exactly has happened. It is a novella, so it shouldn't take me too long to read, and I'm just really excited to be back with these characters. Of course, I will be reading alien smut and monster smut throughout this month as well, just as, you know, my palette cleansers. But this is the TBR I am going to work to stick to this month, and as I've mentioned, at the end of the month I will let you know if setting a TBR worked for me as a mood reader. We shall see. As always, thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate you being here. Let me know what you plan to read this month, or what you're most excited to read this month, or if there are any new releases that are on your radar this month. I'm just very nosy and curious, and I shall see you in my next video. Bye!